Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the weekend report for August 4th, 2023. Don't know about you. It's August. Super excited because that means football season is here. Thank God. It may be only preseason, but I'm ready for it. Decided from now on, I'm going to bring my weekend report to you a little bit later in the day because I want to see how the market trends for the day, just have a better idea where it's going to end the week for us. Because it's been rough this week. It's not been a lot of news this week, but it's certainly been a rough week. And today is finally seeing some positive momentum here in interest rates. Starting with Tuesday, Fitch announced a downgrade to U.S. credit from a AAA to a AA+. It had a slow reaction at first, but then progressively got better. And they cited that downgrade was because just too much debt being carried right now and deteriorating market conditions or financial conditions rather in the U.S. And for me, this jives with the idea of a recession. I know nobody seems to want to call it right now. A few people say that we might already be in one. Some people say we might hit a soft landing. But people are waffling on the idea of whether there's going to be a recession or not because they're so focused on the unemployment being so good, but not looking at the big picture, in my opinion. And I think that Fitch is kind of picking up on this. A lot of debt being carried right now, and as short-term interest rates continue to go up, that much more expensive for people to be able to pay back those debts. So this week, ADP report came out. Let's take a look at the slides. ADP, over the last several months, we've seen it, we've talked about it, big discrepancy between ADP and BLS. ADP reporting 324,000 job creations, which was only almost double the estimate. There was a revision down for the past month, no big deal there, that happens often. But small businesses where most of the gains were made, 327,000, and that is for companies that are less than 50 employees. Large businesses, though, those lost 67,000 jobs. And this doesn't jive with what we're hearing from larger companies that saying they are putting a freeze on their hiring. They're probably cutting back hours versus hiring people. So there were 67,000 job losses with large businesses. But leisure and hospitality, which has been driving the jobs reports since the pandemic, they're showing 201,000 jobs for ADP in the month of July. Now, if you compare June numbers between ADP and BLS, you can see 232 for ADP, but 21,000 for BLS. So now Friday, today, the BLS report came out. Let's take a look at this one for July. They're showing 187,000 job creation. It was actually below the expectations of 200,000. And there, of course, were revisions again down for them, which does happen between both reports every month, really. But the birth-death ratio, we pay a little attention to this one. It's a very volatile number, though. It's the creation of new companies versus those that have closed down, showed positive 280,000. But here again, let's look at leisure and hospitality, which has been the driver in work job creations over the past 2 years. BLS only reporting 17,000 versus 201,000 for ADP. And if you look over the last 2 months, the comparison between the two is huge. There's just a big disconnect for some reason between these. I will tell you, though, that ADP does report government jobs, whereas BLS doesn't. So maybe that's where the difference really falls. But if you break the numbers down just a little bit more, average hourly earnings were up 0.4% month over month per the BLS report. However, hours worked declined from 34.4 hours to 34.3. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you earn more money, if you're working fewer hours, and you might net just the same. You're just not working as much. And it's interesting that the average hour worked is pretty much closer to part-time work versus full-time work. So just something to note there. And then average weekly earnings were only up 0.1% month over month, but down year over year 0.2%. So now let's look a little deeper into this BLS report, which I find really interesting. You can see in the job creations, the full-time work was actually down 585,000 jobs. It was the part-time work where all those gains were made, 972,000. And then look at the age of these people that are picking up these jobs. The predominant workforce in that additional part-time work came from people 55 and older. So does that mean people are picking up additional work to carry the increasing debt that they're carrying at this point? I don't know, but 392,000 for 55 plus. Very interesting. All right, so let's take a look at the markets. Right now, we are at 55 basis points up on the day. That's really good. We finally have recovered where we lost ground since Wednesday, but you can see over the past couple of weeks, we have done nothing but trend further and further down on the MBS markets, which means MBS, that interest rates have gone up. As of today, we have seen 2 reprices for the better. So this is good. Interest rates are improving today. So we'll see how the day ends. If you follow me on Twitter at Lori G Loans, you'll see how the MBS market opens and closes every day, just so you can get a feel for what the interest rates are doing. So I'll tweet that out later today. If you have any questions, please do reach out to me. I do appreciate your likes, your comments, and my shares on my videos. If you know anybody that's interested in purchasing or refinancing, any family, friends, or coworkers, happy to help them out, look at numbers. There's no obligation to do anything, just happy to give them something to look at to see if any of it makes sense for them. Otherwise, have a great weekend. I will see you next week.